So what we're looking at today is the brand new Worksharp Precision Adjust Knife Sharpener. It's a tabletop sharpener, something that we haven't seen from them. It uses an arm to sharpen, and the greatest thing about this is not only does it work really well, it has a awesome price too, coming in at $59.95. You can spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a sharpening system like this. You know, I'm talking $500, $600, $700, $800 on a tabletop sharpening system. But for most of us, this is really all you need. Now, Worksharp makes great field tools. They make the electric tools as well. But this really comes in kind of in the middle as something that you can just keep on a workbench or keep on your desk. And this thing sharpens your knives razor sharp. Now, there is a limitation on how far the arm can slide, so you are limited in size of blade. We'll go through a few different sizes of blades that we can sharpen here, but it works really well, and it's super easy to use. So the Precision Adjust system comes with several different parts. You have the base here that the chassis itself, the sharpening chassis, snaps into. On this sharpening chassis, there are several different angle guides here, ranging from 30 to 15 degrees, and there's an arrow here, and you simply just rotate that arrow to the degree that you want to sharpen your knives at. So this is going to be great for your pocket knives, kitchen knives, and even some larger fixed blades. Go ahead and just snap that into the base here. The base does have a little bit of weight to it, or the system itself has a little bit of weight to it, so I don't find that it moves around. It's got these rubber feet on the bottom, so I don't find it moves around, but you could certainly clamp this base part to a table surface or a workbench, and that would work well. This is the blade clamp, so it basically just has some jaws here that clamp onto your knife. It does have rubber coating on the inside, so that's nice. It's not going to mar the surface of your blade. And then the back of that has a magnetic fastening system there, so it just magnets in to the base. So that's really nice. You don't have to unhook anything. You don't have to unclip anything. It simply just magnets in there. There's also a spring button in the back here, so that allows you to press that and rotate your knife around to work on the other side. And then you have the tri-abrasive sharpening rod. So there's sharpening rod, you have rubber stoppers here that you can adjust, and then you have three different sharpening surfaces here. You have your ceramic hone here, and then you have a 320 grit, coarse grit, and a 600, maybe a medium diamond grit there, and you just simply rotate it to the grit that you want. And that's going to depend on how sharp your knives are to begin with. So let's just start here by touching up this ZT knife. This is one of my favorite EDC blades that I've been carrying currently. So we just take the blade clamp here, and it's got a little thumb screw here. We can loosen that up, and then you just want to put it on the spine of your knife. And when you're aligning that up, you want to get it so that the surface of the blade here is parallel to the clamps. Now, obviously, on a curved blade, you just have to sort of eyeball it there. But once we have it where we want it, pretty well parallel there, then we can tighten down the clamp, stick that into the chassis here, and then the bar just has this little pin that magnets up into the system itself. We can adjust these rubber stoppers so that when you come down, it stops, towards the end of the blade there, and then when you go up, it stops towards the end of the blade there. That is a little bit too long there, so I'm going to bring that back down just a little bit. You don't want it to run off the surface of your blade. So no matter where you are on this blade, you just don't want it to run off the surface. Now you're going to just do light strokes. There's no oil or water needed, just light strokes. And since this blade is relatively sharp, I'm just going to use the ceramic hone here, and I'm just going to do some light strokes back and forth, flip it over and do it again. Now, as far as setting angle goes, the way that you have your guide here that you can adjust it. I have it in between 20 and 25 degrees. You can tell that I have to go a little bit lower in my angle there. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take simple strokes up and down. I'm just going to kind of go like this. I'm just going to go light. And you could take shorter strokes. And what I'm looking for here is just to remove any kind of jaggedness. You know, when you sharpen over time, you get kind of used to how it's supposed to feel over the blade here. And again, this blade is really sharp to begin with. So I know I'm not going to have to do much on this, but basically I'm just taking short strokes here and covering the whole length of the blade. I'm really feeling no resistance whatsoever. So I'm just going to go ahead and we can flip the blade over. We're going to press the spring in the back here, and we're just going to flip it over to the other side. It locks in, and then we're just going to repeat the process on the other side. So I'm kind of just rubbing across here. I'm feeling no resistance here. So for this knife, that's probably all it's going to take. We can pop the little sharpening rod out. We can pull our little blade clamp out, and then I can kind of test it for toothiness. And yeah, that is absolutely razor sharp. Let me grab a piece of paper. Move this back just a little bit, and then we'll test our sharpness here. Just a standard piece of paper. And all the way through the length of that blade. That is a sharp knife. You can probably go much slower. Just cut off tiny little shavings. Go really slow. Look at that paper just curl up. That sucker is razor sharp. Let's grab something else here. Let's grab another pocket knife with a little bit of a different blade style to it. So you can see this has a completely different blade geometry. This one's going to be semi-easy to line up because you can keep it nice and parallel with the blade jaws there. Go ahead and stick that in our system. Put the sharpening rod back in. Now this one, yeah, this one's fairly sharp too. A lot of my knives I keep really sharp, so let's go ahead and just hone this one as well. Again, we want to test our length here. That looks good for that, and that looks good for that. We also want to check our angle. So again, basically I just line that up there and sort of look in the light. Bring it up to the light. Looks like we need to go down just a little bit more on this one. A little bit of a flatter blade profile here. Let's keep going down. This one's going to be right down to about 20 degrees. A little bit more. And it's super easy to adjust. That looks good to me right there. It's super easy to adjust just with the adjustment knob up top. And you can see it moving up and down. So again, I'm just going to go back and forth on this knife. Feeling a little resistance at the tip, so I'll work on that a little bit more than the rest. I'm taking really light strokes. Feels pretty good to me there. Now let's flip it around. Now you can press the spring in the back, but honestly, it's just as easy to pull out the magnet there and flip it around that way. So then I'm just going to work on this side, same thing. Making sure I'm going all the way from the heel of the blade out to the tip. You don't want to go past the tip because you don't want to round over because this thing will spin. So you don't want to round over your tip. So you just want to kind of make sure you're staying straight. And that feels pretty good to me there. So let's go ahead and test that one out. Can loosen our jaws here. Yeah, razor sharp. Grab a piece of paper here. And again, razor sharp. So we can move on to some longer blades, but I did want to show you that you can even do, let's say, like a Leatherman. And you pop this blade clamp off, Make sure that that's parallel. Make sure it's really tight, and this will even hold your Leatherman. So even though you got a lot of weight on that side, it'll even hold your Leathermans. Same thing with a Swiss Army knife. You can easily do those small knives as well. Let's move on to something a little bit larger here. Let's do a good old Mora. This one I was batoning with the other day, so it is quite dull. So we're just going to place this in the blade clamp. And get it as parallel as we can get it. There we go. Pop that in here. Now I am going to start maybe on a 600 on this one. I don't need to go super coarse on this one, so I'm going to start with a 600 and see what we get. If I feel that it needs a little bit more, we can jump down. So again, I want to test, make sure I'm stopped. You can see I'm coming down a little bit far there, so I can move the O-ring up just a little bit. And that looks good all around the knife. So let's go ahead and sharpen this one up. Yeah, see, I can feel that there's some resistance here. Again, I just want to work from the heel to the tip. Alright, so then I'm just going to pop this off, flip it around. Do the same thing on the other side. Just finding those rough spots. You want to try to be as smooth as possible because you want to get it nice and even. Alright, so that looks good. Let me test it with my finger. Yep, that's nice and sharp. So now I'm just going to switch to the hone. And we'll hone it out a little bit. Oh yeah, no resistance at all. A little bit right there, and it's gone. Alright, flip it back over and do the other side. Nice and sharp. So what's the max you could do on a system like this? Well, I grabbed a BK7. I'm just going to clamp it in there just to see not only how it'll handle the weight, obviously the thickness of the spine here. We're about maxed out on thickness. Tighten that up. You can see it holds it okay. And we'll see if we can go the whole length. I'm going to need some more length at the bottom here, where we're almost maxed out on that O-ring. That works good there. A little bit lower on the top. So we're about maxed out on this length of a blade. You could go probably a little bit longer than this. But then you're getting up into choppers and things that I probably wouldn't sharpen with this system. I'm going to go back to my 600 and start there. And you can start to see where you're taking off metal too. Going just a little high, so let's raise our angle up just a little bit. These larger knives you can't take as big of a stroke, so you're starting to get into a limitation. It's really quite limited. It makes it sort of hard to do it smoother. Without being able to get that full stroke. Another thing you could of course do is you could pop this off of here. And you could just do it by hand. Alright, that feels really good. We could even touch it up just a little bit by hand here with the hone. And that is one super sharp fixed blade. So that's going to be about the max that you could do on a system like this. Bushcraft style knives you could probably do all day on this. Kitchen knives, and of course it excels at the fixed blades. Now the more you do it, the more you're going to learn your angles, the more you're going to learn how to set that angle. But this system for $59 is definitely, I think, one of their better systems. It takes all the guesswork out of it. It's very simple to use. It's compact, it's lightweight, it doesn't weigh a ton, and of course it doesn't have that super heavy duty price tag either. So I'm super happy with it. This thing launches November 1st, so I will have a link below in the description where you guys can check this out. Hope you guys enjoyed that video today and demonstration of the Worksharp Precision Adjust Knife Sharpener. I'll talk to you guys on the next video.